Hey guys, Eric here, and in today's guest video, we're going to be taking a look at the Batgirl Premium Format by Sideshow Collectibles. Alright, so let's get her unboxed and assembled. Once we get her all assembled, we'll take some up-close shots and see what we got. As always, first up, we start off with the base. So now this is the exclusive version. It was limited to only 500 pieces, which is a super low ES. This is number 166 out of 500. The base itself has some pretty good weight to it. Up next, you're going to want to put on Batgirl's body. The body is not too heavy. On the back of the leg, you're going to have a metal peg, which is going to key into the smoke explosion on the base. Like that. Up next, before we put on the two arms, I recommend putting on the portrait. But before we can put on the portrait, we need to put on the cape because it slides underneath the neck area. Now, I already opened mine for make sure there was no quality issues with it, and I was taking a look at the cape. It's not the easiest thing in the world to put on. You kind of have to like hook it into the back of the neck area and then slide the portrait in. I'll take some up-close shots to show you what I'm talking about, but let's grab the cape. Let's grab the smiling portrait, which is the exclusive. So here, I don't know if you can see this, like again, I'll take some up close shots, but if you look at the cape, I kind of made like a hook into the top of it. So now when you make a little hook, it's going to slide into the back of the neck, kind of like that. And then you can slide the portrait in. If you don't do that, it's a big pain in the ass to put this thing on, I'm telling you right now. So make a little hook out of the cape on the top, slide it towards the back of the neck, only towards the back, and then slide the portrait in. And then there's two grooves on the sides, which the cape slides out of. It's not the best fit in the world. It's kind of similar to the original premium format, but only worse. The reason I recommend doing that, because if you have the original premium format, you know what I'm talking about. If you accidentally pull the cape up, the head's going to go flying off with it. So put the cape on, put the portrait on, and then put on the arms before you mess with anything else. So let's grab the two arms. Okay, so it's a fairly quick setup, you know, nothing complicated. Like I said, definitely recommend putting on the portrait and the cape first. This way you don't accidentally knock the head off and it goes flying in the air. That's the last thing you need is a chipped portrait or, ear comes flying off. So before we take some up-close shots, we're going to do a quick history of the character Batgirl. Also known as Barbara Gordon, the daughter of Commissioner Gordon. She's highly skilled in martial arts, acrobats, and best known for computer hacking. Batgirl makes her first comic appearance in Detective Comics number 359. In her first story, she's at some party dressed as a female Batman and intercepts a plan by Killer Moth to kidnap Bruce Wayne. She ends up saving his life and then later helps to defeat Killer Moth. She gains his trust and respect and goes on to fight alongside Batman as well as Robin. Years later, she's shot in the spine and paralyzed by the Joker in the Killing Joke storyline, which takes away her physical crime fighting, and she ends up using her computer skills as the character Oracle to help others fight crime and become a founder of the Birds of Prey. Since then, there have been a few other Batgirls to take her place, such as the Asian assassin known as Cassandra Cain, who was quickly replaced by another Batgirl known as Stephanie Brown. DC fans weren't happy with the new changes, and both of them were eventually replaced when Barbara Gordon decides to make a comeback as Batgirl in the New 52 series. An experimental procedure returns her ability to walk again, and she's once again Batgirl, back fighting crime. So here we are today, back with Barbara Gordon. Enough with the backstory. Let's take some up-close shots and see what she looks like. To start off, I really like the concept of this statue. One of my favorite scenes is seeing Batman crashing through a window, so I was really happy when Sideshow decided to use this pose, making a very dynamic Batgirl statue. Taking a look at the base, she's crashing through a warehouse window. The glass is shattered and she has 3 smoke bombs going off to hide her entrance and take down any bad guys in the area. I like the smoke effect, especially how it's billowing out from the center of the explosion. Even the bottom layer of the base has this bursting shape, which looks really nice and adds to the overall effect. The smoke, it's painted gray and has some good shading between shadows and highlights. And as mentioned, the sculpt of the smoke looks great the way it's dispersing. The wood window panel is painted really nice, great paint job to make it look like real wood grain, and it gives the appearance of it being old. You can see rust all over on the metal window pane, and the broken glass looks good using a translucent resin so it's clear like a real window would be, but it's also old and dirty like in an old abandoned warehouse would be. Moving up her body, the boots look amazing. The details are perfect. Between the lines and shapes, there's hidden zippers and straps and stitching, the treading on the bottom, the folds and wrinkles. They look like real tactical boots. The sculpt is perfect. The grappling gun holster around her thigh, again, details are incredible. There's so much going on in the details, even in the gun with the different textures and paint and the buckles to make this look as real as possible. The details are amazing on how this looks like a real leather holster holding a metal gun. The utility belt has a nice flow. It's hovering in the air as she drops down through the window. There's a mixture between pouches and containers. The belt is fully sculpted. It looks good. Again, really nice details with the flaps on the pouches, buttons and stitching, and the gold paint. There's nice shades of colors to make some items look metal and others like leather. There's even some dirt spots to give it a weathered feel. Taking a look at her suit, from pictures it looks kind of boring and all gray, but in person there's a lot going on here. For example, the piping throughout the suit complements the curves and flow of her body. With the paint, it's not just gray, but areas of black under her arms that flow down the side of her torso, and also on her inner thighs, there's some texture going on. The black has this fine textured look, while the gray is smooth, giving some nice contrast between areas of the suit. Her gauntlets match with her boots. Again, amazing details and a mixture of textures. The hands have a ribbed pattern, while the gauntlets themselves look like some kind of leathery Kevlar material. The blades on the gauntlets are painted to look like metal spikes. The stitching and the creases on the fingers, again, make everything look so real. I really like the style of this suit. Every little detail brings this statue to life, and to take a look at the details, sculpt, and the design of the suit, it's really fantastic. They did such an amazing job giving a modern touch to an older look. It reminds me of the animated series suit, but with updated enhancements. I would still one day love to see an even more modernized version with the purple Riverside style suit, but for now this is great. Taking a look at the portraits, they both came out beautiful. If you purchase the exclusive edition, you get an extra smiling portrait. There are also some other differences between the two heads. The collector's portrait has a more serious facial expression. The cowl is a little more modern looking. The ears are smaller. The hair flows different and is straighter and more red. Also, the eyes are blue. The differences on the exclusive smiling portrait are, it's a more traditional looking cowl. The ears are longer, her eyes look a little bit more green instead of blue to me, and the hair is not so red but more of an orange color and curlier. You have a slightly different design in the cowl itself. On both portraits, Sideshow did a really good job. Both look beautiful, are well painted and sculpted. It's a great job on the eyes, especially with the eyeshadow. And finally, we have the cape. It's a two-tone cape. Inside is a golden yellow, while the outside is a black leather appearance. Again, there's stitching for details. Along the edges are some dirt to give it a weathered look. The cape is also posable. You have metal wires that run throughout the inside of the cape, so you can pose this however you like. They feel strong, so if you want to aim the cape upwards like it's flapping in the wind as she comes crashing down, you can do that with no problem. So overall, I really like this statue more than I originally thought I would. Seeing it in person at New York Comic Con last year and seeing all the little fine details, something I was missing from seeing online photos, because from photos you can't really tell what's going on. In my opinion, it captures Batgirl perfectly. I especially like the smiling portrait, but you can't go wrong with either one. Now, I've seen some mixed reactions with her smiling, but that's really how she's known as a character. If you look at most Batgirl statues, she has a grin on her face, even throughout the comics. She's just a kid, and the excitement of helping out Batman and doing what she does successfully with his acceptance puts a smile on her face, even if she's crashing through a window. It's a feeling of, wow, I'm actually doing this and I can't believe it. There's excitement within her. Take a look at any comic or watch an animated show and you'll see for yourself. But overall, don't hesitate to buy this. I've owned the original Batgirl PF, and this is just as good as that, if not better. The details, without a doubt, are definitely better. As of right now, you have 3 options for Batgirls. There's this one, the original PF, and the XM Samurai Batgirl. The original PF is still a classic. It's amazing if you want a museum pose. But if you're looking for something more updated and dynamic with amazing details, I highly recommend picking this up. The ES for the exclusive was only $500, so there's not many of them out there. All right, as always, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Until next time.